What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Importas to California, a podcast that brings to you folks that are working on policy and politics from across California. Today, joining me for the first time is our guest, Carlo Flores-Olsen.
Hello.
And today's episode is about the different organizations that have a voice in Sacramento. Some of those folks are student organizations. Carlo's joining me as a representative of the Student Senate for the California Community Colleges. Carlo, how you doing?
I'm doing good today. How about you?
Doing great. So tell me, what college did you go to? Where are you from? Tell me a little bit about your background.
So I'm a student from Rio Hondo College. I serve, as you said, on the Student Senate. I work as a legislative affairs director, so I work in our advocacy and legislative priorities area of the organization. I also serve as a student trustee on the board for Rio Hondo College. We are a single college district, only Rio Hondo College, but we do have our satellite campuses.
And for everyone that doesn't know, Rio Hondo, that's in the LA County area. What area of LA specifically does Rio Hondo represent?
It's in Whittier, but for those who don't know Whittier, where Whittier's at, it's in the southeast area of LA, specifically bordering Orange County, kind of right where the San Gabriel Valley kind of starts.
Yeah.
But that's the best way to describe where Whittier's at.
And well, that must explain a lot why you're wearing a shirt that says Legalize Pupusas, right? For those who can't see the full text, it says Legalize Pupusas. So tell me, where's your favorite pupusaria in Whittier or in LA? Or tell me, where is it at so we can go, so everyone else can know about it.
Funny enough, this is actually I'm a really big fan of LA Galaxy. I'm a really big soccer fan. I've enjoyed soccer my whole life.
Yeah, we're not have to cut the podcast now because I'm an LAFC fan.
Oh, really? Oh, my bad. Hey, but I can get behind LAFC. You guys did really good yesterday against Miami.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think Messi did not win that one, right? No, he didn't.
3-0. You guys won.
All right, so pupusas. Let's get back to it.
Yeah, pupusas. So I went over to LA Galaxy, and we used to have season tickets there. And when we went there, there's this one place called Pupusas with a Purpose. It's like kind of like an advocacy shop, but also does but they sell pupusas. They sell really good ones too. I'd say that's my favorite. And their work uniforms, actually, funny enough, were this legalized pupusas.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really like that shirt. I really hope I can go get one. So then I go up there and I go talk to them while we're getting like a drink to go just to go chill the game we'll watch with.
Yeah.
And I go up there and I ask them, oh, how can I get that shirt of yours? And I'm like, well, this is our uniform. I don't know how we can get it. But actually, wait, we have a backup one in the back. She goes and gets it, brings it back to me. I'm like, this is amazing. Thank you so much. And it fits me. And I'm like, how much I got to pay you? And she's like, nothing. I was like, really? So I was able to get it for free and I was really happy about it. And I love wearing it. It always sparks us a good conversation starter too.
Dang. And so is your family are they Central American, or are you just a fan of pupusas?
A little bit of both. So my mom, I am mixed race. I am half Nicaragüense, and I am also half white, kind of Nordic. I think my dad's mainly Nordic.
Oh, okay.
But my mom, she's a immigrant. She's a first generation immigrant. Her parents came over here and they had her, but then they went back to Nicaragua, and then they ended up coming back afterward. During the Aran Contras incident, and because she was only left with an ultimatum to go to higher ed, and that was either she go and work in the coffee fields next to the front line, or she would have to go fight in the front line, and neither of those are good options. So she came over here to finish her education.
Dang. So does your mom make pupusas as well, or no?
Unfortunately, no.
No.
But so that I'm maybe a little biased. The only pupusas I can get are the ones at LA Galaxy.
Dang. And then what's your last question on pupusas, and we'll get into the politics, but pupusas are political too. What's your favorite pupusa?
My favorite pupusa? I'd have to go with, just a regular refried bean and cheese pupusas. Like, just the old basic, the old bread and butter.
Very classic pupusa. Excellent. And then so the other thing I wanted to talk about with, Rio Hondo College, there's a lot of folks that have really big names that have come out of that college. Hilda Solis was a trustee there. You're a student trustee. Tell me about how long have you been a student trustee? I was a student trustee, so I can kind of relate to a lot of the things that you did. I was a student trustee at North Orange County Community College District when I was representing Fullerton College. Go Hornets, by the way. But yeah, how is it being a student trustee? And then, yeah, go on.
It's been a really good experience for me. I've been able to have so many experiences meeting so many extraordinary people. I mean, there's people in the chancellor's office that came from Rio Hondo College that I've or the chancellor's office. For those that don't know, is the office that basically serves the executive branch side of the community college system. Um, and I've met with people that I mean legislators. I've met with so many different types of people. It's been actually an amazing experience. Although I can't say that I wasn't nervous going up there for the first time, but I mean, I think I really grew from it, and it was a really nice experience for me learning how to advocate with people, how to negotiate, and how to get things done.
And so, for those that don't know, colleges, community colleges in California are represented by boards of trustees, kind of like your school board, right? Some people didn't know that there's community colleges, and so you're the student representative on a board with elected officials,
hmm
and then sounds like you do advocacy just like that they do to bring resources back to the college district. So, has there been any items that you've been working on, or as a student trustee? Or is there anything you're trying to do before you leave your trusteeship that you want to leave your mark with?
So I ran on three things, and I've mostly delivered with them. It's I wanted to improve the transportation at our college.
Hmm.
Those didn't start as a main reason, but it became a very big priority for me because I mean when I was going there, I was able to meet my girlfriend. Her name's Yami.
Dang. Shout out
Shout
to
out to
your
her.
girlfriend.
Shout out to her. But she was a really good impact on my life. But one really big problem she had with Rio Hondo College is it's on a hill. If for those who don't know, but it's a really steep incline and it's really hard to get up to classes. So we have this transit system that takes you from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill, but it had a very long wait time for it. So something I worked with our police chief is to increase the amount of I guess the time period it takes to get over from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill. And I mean, because of how bad it was for her, she had to walk up consistently day after day over to the top of the hill, and it actually was messing up her knee.
Oh wow.
So it really, and I kept on hearing more and more complaints about it. So I was like, it's got to be solved. So I went over to the police chief and I talked with the superintendent and the police chief, and we were able to get it all worked out.
That's great. That's amazing. Transportation has been a big issue for a lot of students, especially in metropolitan areas and urban areas, but also so but also so in rural areas too. I know some of the college students that I'm working with and in the Central Coast are advocating on transportation. Which kind of brings us to our next point. So, we brought you on to talk about SSCCC. Um, as some of our viewers and listeners have learned, there's different organizations that are represented in the Capitol, right? Education happens to be one of those key issues that is always discussed in the halls of the legislature. And anytime you talk about college, SSCCC is always one of the major stakeholders. So tell folks a little bit more about the Student Senate and what are some of the things that you all do as a body.
So some things we do as a body, we do advocate, as you said, in the legislature. We'll talk with legislators directly, ask for different priorities, hopefully swing their way one way or another.
Hmm.
Also, we do sponsor legislation. We do support legislation, and also, but we kind of do some community work with the community colleges, serving as kind of an advisor to some of them, giving them trainings and local support if they ever ask for it. Um, but that's kind of really what the Student Senate does. Also, we do serve as a member within our it's called Consultation Council.
Uh-huh.
It's a council of all the constituent groups in the community college system, and we all go talk about the discussion or discuss different problems that are happening on each campus and across the system as a whole.
And so and there's representatives from there's 100 and what 12 colleges, 116 community
100
colleges.
116 and 118 if you count the two not continuing education colleges in our system.
Okay, and then so of those 118, about how many students make up kind of the what would it be, the board of directors at the SSCCC?
So we have as a total 26 board of directors. So
Uh-huh.
20 of them are regional officers.
Yeah.
Specific we have well each region has 5 regional officers. We split the entire California into 10 regions.
Yeah.
And each region sends 2 board members, them being the regional affairs director and the legislative affairs director. Think of the regional affairs director as kind of like the management of the region, maybe like the president of the region.
Yeah.
And then the legislative affairs director is the advocate in the region, the one that directs all the visits, all the priorities, stuff like that, and all the advocacy as well. And then so those make up the 20, but there's also six others. Those are the executive members. Those are kind of serve as the overseers of each position. So the president oversees everyone. Then there's the vice president. He oversees the people that are the vice chairs of the region. Then there's also the VPRA or VP of Regional Affairs,
Hmm.
and they serve as the kind of the mentor of all the regional affairs directors, or we call them RADs. And then the VPLA, the VP of Legislative Affairs, mentors us, what we call LADs. And then the VP of Finance deals with all finance, and then VP of Communications deals with all of our outreach and communications with our regions.
Dang. So and it sounds like, I'm assuming, the way that you all have it set up, and I believe so, is that there's representatives from colleges across California. California is a very, very large state, so it's very much inclusive of trying to get the most representative voice of all the 116 colleges. Correct?
Of course, yeah. So we have many layers of our organizational structure. That is of course, I guess what deals with internal practices is our board of directors. But we, all advocacy and policy initiatives that are started come from the delegates, and each college has their own delegate. They pick it, and it'll be their student body president, or maybe it'll be their director of legislative affairs, or maybe a VP of external affairs. Those are some of the names that I've came across in my time in
Hmm.
the student senate. But each of them, they all cast one vote, and they all pick who's going to be their executive body for each region, and also their executive officers in total for the whole state.
And so that's kind of the representation, and that's probably how you, and from those individuals and their constituencies, you probably learn about what are the issues you're all going to work on in the legislature. I'm assuming, is that right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, some of the big issues that we've got, and of course, I mean, immigrant rights has been a really big problem recently. The
Hmm.
Student Senate last year had picked up some bills, one of them being SB 98 by Perez. I mean, she did amazing work, but it was the ICE notification bill, and that's something that we thankfully got passed, and it's to help out students in immigrant communities. Feel a little bit safer on their community college campus, because it's a big thing with a lot of students not being able to even go to their graduation because they're scared they're going to get picked up by ICE.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it sounds like, you get all the input, and then, I'm assuming you do it in the fall, to listen what the needs are, and then do you all set your agenda in the fall or in the spring to so you can go with the legislative calendar.
Yeah, so we do all of our resolution passing, all the advocacy avenues or the change they want us to make, all in springtime. So our general assembly is going to be in March 27th through 29th. That's when we vote on all our resolutions. All the delegates choose what they want to do next, and then afterward, come fall, then we make our legislative priorities for the next year.
Yeah.
Then, based on those priorities, then we'll choose different bills depending on what the push is from our own board members, and also from what's happening around each campus and what seems like the most pressing issues.
Got it. And so where the legislature just finished introducing bills. The governor just presented his budget in January. So what are some of the issues that you're all looking at to tackle this year?
Yeah, so some issues that we're trying to tackle this year is medicated abortion access on campuses.
Hmm.
Also, something too is we're going to try making sure that each student government, or all student governments, have the resources necessary to function properly, specifically in advocacy. So they have this fund called the Student Representation Fund, shortened to SRF. The SRF fund then pays directly into their advocacy visits. So a lot of student governments will go to DC, they'll advocate there, they'll also advocate in Sacramento. Both of those avenues are used with the SRF funds. And also same with going to General Assembly as they're advocating on the statewide level.
Hmm.
But then we also get it paid into the organization too. A lot of the strain that we have in the organizations, a lot of students are not able to go to the conferences that we have. I mean, it's such a burden having so many students. But I mean, we want to bring them all. But unfortunately, with just the funding and the logistics of it, it just kind of gets crazy. It's also because California is such a big state. Even having a conference, and if you pick maybe one year we go as NorCal, when we go to SoCal, it becomes a big problem having so many students to take up and down. So one thing we're trying to do is increase the amount of funding we can get for the organization to be able to function and serve the students as best as possible.
And I think, one thing folks might not understand, if they don't have a really good snapshot of California, but I'm sure you're very aware of this, is that the community colleges are located in almost every part of California. There's a community college in Shasta, California. There's a community college in Tahoe, California, or South Lake Tahoe of
Hmm.
California. They're everywhere. And so you have to think about, well, what transportation infrastructure is there for students just to get to a major hub, right? So if you're coming from Tahoe or Shasta, well, how do you get to Sacramento to get to Los Angeles or other airports, right? What's
Hmm.
the closest bus route or so forth? Uh, other folks that are on the northern coast part of California. So, and then think about some of the rural areas too, out in the Central Valley and so forth. So it is an issue, absolutely. And a lot of those students do attend your conferences and do advocacy with y'all, isn't that right?
Yeah, they do, and I mean, big thanks to them. I mean, they're making crazy drives. I know one of our board members. He loves to drive. He's from I don't know the best way to describe it. Is Saracosa Community College?
Uh huh.
I don't know exactly where that's at, but I know that it's more kind of around Bakersfield area, kind of.
Hmm.
But he'll be driving up all the way to our conferences that we have up in NorCal and in Sacramento right here. And I mean, doing that type of drive, especially for a lot of other colleges as well, is kind of a tall order, and the flights too at the same time, because we have some people coming in from NorCal, from the forest. I mean, from Shasta, Lassen, Butte,
Yeah.
and all of those. I mean, it takes a lot of resources to get down, and so it's necessary that they get the funding they need to be able to function as advocates.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's great. So, college affordability happens to be one of the issues. It seems that the legislature is trying to tackle. What are some of the priorities that you have in college affordability this year?
So one of them we have is through a Senate bill we right now are trying to co-sponsor with. We are currently supporting it. It's SB 960 by Calbadon.
Mm-hmm.
He is trying to expand the pathways for gaining baccalaureate degrees at community college campuses.
Mm-hmm.
Because currently under the current law, community colleges can apply for baccalaureate programs on their campuses,
Yeah.
but it can't be a duplicate of anything from the CSU or the UC system, and that's the entire state. So you have colleges objecting, say from San Bernardino College, CSU San Bernardino,
Mm-hmm.
objecting to camp courses all the way down from San Diego Mesa, which is a good solid 3 hour drive from each other. And so one of the things that that bill aims to do is make it so that the campuses that are turning away students um, from their college and impacted majors for multiple years,
Yeah.
they instead can be brought over to community colleges as alternate degree pathways if they're not meeting the requirements for the CSU.
So basically, what you would be doing is offering, and so it's allowed already, is to offer a BA on community colleges.
Yes, but it's limited in how many you can do.
Mm-hmm.
There was a recent bill that unfortunately failed, AB 1400, that was doing something similar for nursing degrees because there's a big nursing shortage problem in our rural colleges, and that was another thing he was trying to tackle as well. And I know there's been a couple of bills also that have been introduced recently that relate to getting baccalaureate programs at certain different colleges, and there was a bunch that were also introduced last year as trying to be in uh, a one-time, I guess, alternative in the legislature.
Yeah, and so it seems to be an issue that's trending.
Mhm.
Is there any, I think student housing happens to be one of the bigger issues. Housing in general is an issue with the legislature. Is there anything in that space that you guys are going to be doing this year?
This year, I don't believe so, but if there's bills, we usually do support them. We
Uh
are
huh.
very supportive of those housing initiative bills, and we consistently get resolutions from our delegates that say they want better housing on campuses. And we did have something as like an alternative to it because we do know it's a tall order to ask the legislator to ask for such, for crazy housing projects that can cost multi-million dollars just in a single district. We have so many colleges, it's kind of hard to get it across the board. But something that we did advocate for was AB 90, which unfortunately did not pass.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a safe parking bill. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of an alternative, or one of my friends likes to call it. It's a band-aid on a bullet wound, or something like that. And I mean, it was a bill that was hoping to, alleviate some of the concerns with housing, but it is something that we do work on.
Dang. And so, it absolutely sounds, really important. We hear about it from students all the time. So those are some of the priorities that you have. There's a budget deficit, but now all the bills have been introduced. So tell me, you've been with SSCCC for a while now, right?
Kinda. I mean, if you could say so. I've only been for about 7, 8 months, although I have served as a delegate beforehand. Our Unfortunately, our terms are very short. It's just 1 year, and then we
Got it.
have to seek re-election if we want to go, and then there's term limits to that too. But it's kind of meant to be kind of like you get an opportunity to be a student leader in the community college system. I mean, there's so many people that are looking for that position, so I mean, it's kind of important that we have a new class consistently coming in.
And I think one thing we always got to do with student leaders is always remind them, and your main objective is to graduate and transfer and all those, receive your certificate and all those other things. So in addition to balancing, so tell me about being a student leader now. Here are the issues. Here's your priorities. This is kind of the landscape of the legislature. So, what has it been like in your experience when you've done advocacy as a student trustee or a student leader or with SSCCC? When you're engaging with legislators, like what are some of the things that you hear from them about some of the priorities that you work on?
They're usually very receptive to us as students. I mean, whenever the times I've gone to, I've gone to the legislator's office. They always usually ask, "What are your stories, and what have you gone through, and what are your experiences with these issues firsthand, and what have your friends been dealing with?" And that's something they really listen to is what those stories are, because usually in a good setting with a legislative visit, you might want to talk about those personal anecdotes that you've had, and that usually can be the big driver. Because I mean, they hear the data every day in day out about what's going on, but when you really put a face in front of what's happening, it really gives a big push to what your ask is and what you want them to do.
And so the other thing I wanted to ask you, and I apologize for kind of going out of order, but sometimes well, not sometimes, there are other uh, student organizations. There's so you all represent the community college students. There's UCSA that represents the UC students, and then there's the CSSA. Do you all ever do anything jointly or work with them, or what does that look like?
Historically, we have not worked with them as much as we could. We're not system partners, but we are partners.
Yeah.
We do work a lot on the same issues. I mean, with SB 98, that the immigration alert bill,
Hmm.
that one we all served as co-sponsors on. We all worked together with State Senator Sasha Renee Perez to get that one passed. But historically, we haven't. But we have now tried to increase more and more collaboration with each other. I
Hmm.
mean, recently we all joined the USSA, the United States Student Association, although we pulled out, but we got a lot closer with our compatriots in the UC system and the CSU system as a whole. We're trying to do more joint conferences, but again, it's a working progress in the relationship between
And
all of us.
and is that because the systems are unique in their own respective, or
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on that?
yeah, I think we are a little bit unique in our own ways. I mean, the community college system, I think we're very well institutionalized with how our student voices is handled and held. But I mean, there's also a bit of a difference because like community college, we're basically no cost to free for a lot of students at our campuses, and there's increasing costs between each of us. So we have our own priorities and what issues we agree and align on. But I think, in all, we get along pretty well.
That's great. So it sounds like there's that you're also working with those student groups every now and then, where
Mhm.
there is some room. Sounding like the bill with Senator Perez was all hands on deck type of bill, and that's when you do a lot of collaboration. That's great to hear. Um, so in addition to some of the legislation you're working on, what are some of the other things that you think are going to pop up based on feedback you've heard from SSCCC?
Like different types of bills or like what type of budget problems we might come across.
Yeah, or more so on the budget.
Yeah, some of the stuff I've heard. I mean, the legislative analyst office is predicting like a 15 around 15 billion. Correct me if I'm wrong. Around 15 billion dollar deficit, while the governor's office is predicting around four.
Mhm.
So
Something like that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So and with there's such a broad difference between the two of them, I feel like there could be some pushback in the legislator about the budget, and there might be some asks because all three of our education systems were treated really well in the budget, but we got to see what ends up happening. And depending on if what type of pushback we might need to come across, we might need to go fight against it and do some advocacy to make sure that we are being protected as a system for all three of us. And then also for the legislator, I don't think we have really anything that's too concerning coming from California. Usually it's just more bills of support.
Yeah, yeah.
Thankfully, we have a very supportive legislator on higher education, so I can't really say anything about against opposing anything there.
Yeah, and there's one. I think the reason being is a lot of the legislators came from, or they were community college students once themselves,
Hmm.
and so that's very helpful that they understand firsthand the needs. Some of them were members of community college districts. They're on the boards of trustees, so that's also helpful. But I think wanted to appreciate you for being on here, for taking the time to chat with us, to let us and others learn a little bit more about SSCCC. Would love to get your final thought on today's podcast. If you can go ahead and share anything that you wanted with us before we close out.
Thank you for having me here. It was a really great opportunity to come speak about the student senate. Um, and I just want to thank you. And I mean, we don't usually get a lot of opportunities to really put our names out there into other spaces. So it's been a really good opportunity from you guys.
Well, I'll just say for my closing thought, it was a pleasure to have you. I think someone who came and benefited from the community college system, who I wasn't involved with SSCCC, but adjacent to it, given that I was a student trustee, really, like working with y'all when I was a student. When I was legislative staff, I worked with a lot of young advocates from SSCCC, and
Hmm.
it's always good to see the different leaders coming through.
Hmm.
So continue to plug in for anyone that's listening, that's a community college student that wants to be a part of that program and that organization, whether it's formally or informally. Remember, the representation and being involved is what's key. So thank you for coming on, and especially coming all the way from Whittier, California,
Hmm.
close to my hometown neck of the woods. Thanks, Carlo.
Of course.
This is Christopher Sanchez, your favorite Chicano on politics. You're now tuning into
And you're listening to
Importas, California.